Testing, testing. One, two, three. Um, I'm doing a wee live stream. I had talked about this in 2022 about the LA meeting. So I had to do it again and do a remap because some of my previous videos got deleted last year. So I'm gonna start over. I think the next video I'm gonna do is gonna be Sunday when I go to the second party, and after that it's gonna be the party, so dude can come in. So this article was on April the 24th, 2012. The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Yeah, the bishop had talked about this. Uh huh. And a rumor is that Biggie and Tupac didn't have no parts in it, is what I had heard. I already know about Flesh and Bone when he had an outburst. It's a rumor. And the other four was Crazy, um, Wish, Busy, uh, um, I'm trying to, I know I said Busy, Wish, Lazy, and Crazy. They were there. And they had signed because one of the uh, Yakubians had told 'em about what they had signed. And if you go against it, because everybody in that meeting has signed, if you have signed and you uh, change your mind, it'll be some legal consequences. I already know what the consequences are that I wasn't even aware when I was younger. The secret meaning that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. It is mostly the so-called black and brown. That's their main target, so they can infest these private prisons. Uh-huh. It's always be us than any other race. In this anonymous letter landed in my inbox about a minute ago, Crazy Bone had read this on his broadcast. And I said this when I had did this on the BWO's channel last year when I was at Mount Radio Library. No, in 2022. It was 2022 when I had discussed this about the LA meeting in '91 when they want to take a new direction of rap. Hello. After more than 20 years, I have finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning point in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time, weighing the pros and cons of making this story public as I was reluctant to implicit the individuals who were present that day, so I simply decided to leave out names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were like me dragged into something they wasn't ready for. Between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you call a decision maker with one of the most established company in the music industry. I came from Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself and the business, the industry was different back then. Since technology and media wasn't accessible to people like they are today, the industry has more control over the public and had the means to influence them anyway it wanted. This may explain why in early 1991 I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of music business insiders to discuss rap's music new direction. The industry was different back then. So this person, I already said this, he's from Europe, decision maker, technology and media wasn't like what it is today back then. Uh-huh. Yep. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. Like it says the injury was different back then since technology and media wasn't accessible to me like they are today. The injury has control of the public and has the means to influence them any way it wanted. That's what I had read. This was why in early 1991 I was attending the closed doorway small music of business insiders in 1991 a music of people who are music business insiders. I'm talking about the high level and discuss rap's new direction. Little did I know that we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practice I have ever seen. So the business was at some private residence at the outskirts of Los Angeles. It was 25 to 30 people being there. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people being there. Most of them, and he said he saw familiar faces, most of the familiar faces speaking to those I knew. We joke about the demo meeting as many of us did not care about rock music, and that was their choice, and failed to see purpose of being invited to a private gathering in a private forum to discuss the direction of the new direction and rap to invest these private parents. It has to be talking about drugs, sex, killing, violence, and robbing. That's what this direction rap was going to be. They don't want that positive, that subconscious, or that high frequency. They don't want that. It has to be something negative that can damage the black and brown community. Uh huh. Speaking those who I knew, we joke about the demo of me and many us did not care for rap music and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private gathering to discuss its future. Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle based on their behavior and formal appearances. So this group was anti-social in the meeting. They did not seem to be in our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we was asked to sign a customary agreement. That's what they signed. If you go against that agreement, you will suffer these consequences. This is why I'm not in the entertainment business. This is why. Preventing us from freely discussing the information considered during the meeting, needless to say, this increase in some cases disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long but very clear on the matter, and consequences were stated that violate the terms will result in job termination. Job termination is one of them. The other, and I already know what the other is, and it'd be freaking years. Ain't gonna be just like that. It's gonna be some years of a sacrifice they're gonna do. I know this. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but couldn't find anyone who have answers for it. Couldn't find anyone answer. A few people refused to sign and walk out. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, a few people didn't want anything to do with this new direction, and no one stopped them. No one that's was close to the private resident person. I know he's a cockanoid. Didn't stop them, and he was tempted to follow them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me. A man who was a part of the unfamiliar group collected the agreements from us. So a man from an unfamiliar group had collected the agreements. So they, because the agreements is the agenda they pushing to destroy the black and brown in the society we are living in, which is low incoming. Mostly low incoming Section 8. Quickly after the meeting began, one of my Inslee colleagues, who shall not remain nameless like everyone else, thanked us for attending. So he thanked them for attending. And he then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no further details about his personal background. So, first name, no background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but it was never confirmed. So I think I'm not confirmed, but I think he was the resident, but I'm not 100% confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industry and congratulate us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable at the strangeness of this gathering. He was feeling uncomfortable at the strangeness of this gathering. I remember saying this on the BWO's live stream, if I can remember. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us the respectable companies we represent has invested in a very profitable industry what could become even more rewarding with our active environment. He explains that the companies we work for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, privately owned business. That's what they was doing. This is what I was talking about. They yeah they had to get money out of these privately owned prisons. Uh-huh. And it won't freaking end. They have to continue to have their pay. And that's red flags. And that our position of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in the confusion at the time. I didn't know what a private prison was, so he didn't know what a private prison was. But I wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one. I remember saying that. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with us. We were told that these prisons were built by probably old companies, and their high level cockanoids, who don't care about the black and brown than any other, and it's dominantly mostly targets blacks than it is with browns. But browns are the first runner up who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates. So these higher power cockanoids is receiving funds from the government to increase the private prisons so they can get black and brown inmates and other inmates that's not black and brown. But they want to build more black and brown inmates than non black and brown inmates. The more inmates, the more money the government will pay these prisons. See, you see this? That's the government's pay. More inmates, the more the government has more freaking debt and more money, extra money in that extra paycheck. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are probably old, as they become publicly traded, we be able to buy shares. See, they buy shares. That's the government's funding. The more they put us in, the more they get paid. This is sickening. They've been doing this since they ended slavery and started to have to build these prisons and also other things to decide slavery. You see, most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who has first opened the meeting took the floor again and asked a question. He was asked a question. One of his industry colleagues had asked a question. He told us that since our employees have become solid investors, or as they are solid investors in this prison business, it was now in our interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Yes, that's what they freaking want. You have to be gay for the state. I'm talking about black and brown. This is why Hollywood, mainstream WAS, they don't like no black alpha males. They hate and they're afraid of that. Our jobs will be to help to make this happen by marketing music which promotes criminal behavior. Yes, that's what they push it. Criminal behavior already said about the drugs, the robbery, the violence, the killing, and also the sex to promote criminal behavior. That's their part of the agenda. Being the music of choice. That's what I had said. I said this before. That's their music of choice. Rhythm and blues, jazz, no. Rap, yes. Reggae, no. Rap is the choice that we want. Rap is the choice to put more blacks and browns than any other in these private business by these private owned companies. Hmm. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming increasingly profitable. See, rap music was the choice because it was becoming so profitable market for our companies. As an employee, we also be able to buy personal stocks in these prisons. Immediately silence came over the road. You could hear a pin drop, yes, the pin drop because of what they was going to do with rap. Because it became so probable and popular. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming. So this person wasn't dreaming, and so half of the people would drop jaws. So they was dropping jaws, pen drop, face expression, jaws were dropped. My days was erupted with someone his flesh and bones allegedly shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" That's what he said. He said, "Is this a fucking joke?" The choice to the increase the prison population isn't by these cockanoids. At this point, things became chaotic. Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shot her out and attempted to remove him from the house. How I know this, that's flesh and bone, because it's a YouTuber. I, oh man, I've been on his paddle before. Uh, Hold on, I'll be right back. Dang, it's gonna get back to me, but he's from New York, so oh man, he had dreads. He was light skinned, had a hat. I don't know how I forget his name so freaking quick. It's gonna get back to me. It will definitely get back to me. They don't know how I freaking forget his name. Mm-mm-mm. Oh well. So what was I? Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who saw him out and attempted to remove him from the house. Mm-mm-mm. Dang, it's gonna get back to me. I don't know. I haven't watched his content in a minute because he had talk about Crazy Bone was being hospitalized because he was on a broadcast reading about this new direction they pushing the rap in 1991 in the LA meeting. So two of the men, was it Crazy or Busy or Wish? Was it uh Busy? Two out of the five men, was it them? Because they attended, because when I read the Wikipedia of Bulldozer Harley, they started out in 1991. Um Then the guy from Europe was with them. No, 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 no. Let me continue reading. So he yelled out because he ain't going for that. He didn't agree to it. So grabbed the man, shouted out, attempted to remove him from the house. A few of myself include. I tried to intervene. So the guy in Europe tried to intervene. One of them pulled out the gun, and we all back off. They separate us from the crowd, and all four of us were scattered outside. My industry colleague, who had opened the meeting earlier and hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed the agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly or even with those who attended the meeting. I asked him why he was involved with something this corrupt, and he replied that it was bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. Walked back into the house. So this is bigger than the music business. Um, with challenge without risking consequences. If you speak out about this agreement, I already said what I had said about. We all protested but as he walked back into the house, I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Remember, you signed an agreement. And then he closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our cars and actually watched until we drove off. So they was being rushed getting in the car, and after that, I think they went back to the house after the guy has y'all signed the agreement. If you speak out about it, it would be some legal consequences behind it. They don't want that. So signing means you took an oath with that agreement. So they were yeah, our cars. Yeah, they were separate cars. A millions of things were going through my mind as I drove away, and I eventually decided to pull over and park on a side street in order to collect my thoughts. So he had to pull over and collect his thoughts of what he had witnessed in the LA meeting. I would apply everything in my mind repeatedly, and it's all seemed very surreal to me. I was angry with myself, so he was angry at himself for not having taken more active role in questioning. So he should ask questions about the direction that they was pushing. What had been presented to us, I like to believe the shock of it all is what suspended my better nature. After what I seemed like an eternity, I was able to calm myself enough to make it home. I didn't talk or call anyone that night. So he didn't talk or call anyone that night. The next day, back at the office, I was physically out of it, but blame it on being under the weather. No one else in my department has been invited to the meeting. I felt a sense of guilt for not being able to share what I had witnessed. I thought about contacting the three others who were kicked out of the house, but I didn't remember their names and thought that tracking them down would probably be unwanted attention. I considered speaking out publicly at the risk of losing my job, but I realized I'd probably be jeopardizing more than my job. I wasn't willing to risk anything happening to my family, and I thought about those men with guns, and I wonder who they were. I had been told this was bigger than the music business, and I could do was let my imagine one three free. They were no answers, and no one to talk to. I tried to do a little bit of research over the private prison, but didn't uncover anything about the music business in private. However, the information I did find how dangerous the prison business really was. So he did his research. No results about it. Then he thought about the men's with the guns and say, "Do let my legend run free." There were no answers and no one to talk to. I tried to do research on private prisons. That's what he did, but didn't uncover anything about the music business involvement. However, the information I did find cover how dangerous the private business really was. Yeah, they are dangerous, and there's no any of the dangerous of the private prisons. This private prison was days and 2 weeks. Yeah, he said days, t- 2 weeks, and weeks into months. So weeks to months. Essentially, it was as if the meeting had never taken place. It all seemed surreal. I became more reclusive and stopped going to any industry events unless professionally obligated. So he been reclusive and stopped going to industry events because he knew what was going on. Unless, but unless professionally obligated to do so on 2 occasions, I found myself attending the same function as my former colleague. Both times our odds met, but nothing more was exchanged. So nothing was more was exchanged. So the second function that he attended to, okay, as the months passed, rap music has definitely changed direction. I was never a fan of it, but even I could tell the difference. Rap acts that talk about politics or harmless fun will quickly fading away as gangster rap started to dominate the airwaves. He was never a fan of it. Politics, harmless was fading away because they was pushing the gangster rap. That's what it was. This new direction was the gangster rap. Promote criminal behavior. Yeah, I said it. I said it clearly. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yep. Only a few months had passed since the meeting, but I suspect that the ideas presented that day has been simply in panic. It was as if the order has been given to all major label executives. The music was climbing the charts. That the music climbing the charts, yeah. And most companies were more than happy to capitalize it. That's what they do. They capitalize it. That's the agenda. Lies, so they can like boost the Billboard charts. Each one charting out of their very own gangster rap acts or an infinity line. Everyone brought into it. Consumers include violence and drugs used to become a central time in most rap music. Violence and drugs and gangster rap. That's the agenda right there. That's your three-piece dinner. I spoke to a few of my peers in the industry to get their opinions on this new trend. So he was trying to like get his peers on their thoughts about this gangster rap, but was told repeatedly that it was all supply and demand. So it was all supply and demand. Sadly, many of them even expressed that the music was reinforced their presence of minority. And I had said this: it's blacks and browns. That's their biggest target. Gangster rap wants to push it. Black, brown, black on brown violence. That's what gangster rap was all about. And they also create studio gangsters, something that they're not. They've been doing this. Easy E had talked about this. A studio gangster is an artist who talks about drugs and violence and come up with the fantasy concepts of it. And he brags about what he had did slash she, I'll put she there, about what they did in the hood. And it's a storyline. That's what a studio gangster is. A studio gangster, and let me tell you, studio gangsters, most of them, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, the prime examples, most of them wasn't born in low incoming neighborhoods in Section 8. Most of them was born in middle class and upper middle class. Uh-huh. That's what they do. Okay, he was he and also uh steel gangsters can be born in low incoming, but not really in the gangster lifestyle. They never took part of it. All they want to do is do hip hop and breakdance, just like Dr. Dre and Diesel Yella had did. Uh huh. Even I'm gonna look up his name because Big Lurch, Big Lurch wasn't no street nigga. I just found that out. But he, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and others who are studio gangsters are either Prince Hall, Scottish Rite, the modern ancient accepted Freemasons. Big Lurch wanted to do music. He wasn't all about the street life. Most people though did not know. I did not know until the brother the truth had spoke about it. And he was set up. You see, us black people are not vampires. We not cannibalistics, but they are. Uh-huh. The movie, what was the movie? Chris Rock, Alec Payne, and trying to think of the other guy. Uh, Otis had stole Charlie Murphy's style. Chris Rock wasn't about that street life, but Charlie Murphy was the character in the movie CB4. I officially quit the music business in 1993. So he quit the music and business in 1993 because he knew something wasn't right. But my heart had already left months before. He left months before. He had escaped. And I thought it was that same dude. And that same dude uh was talking about us black people when he wasn't a black man. About it was about our culture being exploited in the music business. It is time for us for a change. The set out to do like 80-day positive and rap. They don't want that. Just leave the studio gangster. Just be you in your music. Whether it's the good part and the bad part. It doesn't matter. and he ended up dying mysteriously because he was bringing up the positivity on us black people about his what his culture was doing to us being exploited. They always do racism exploitation. They've been doing this for forever. Ever since it all started with Yakub. It already had freaking started with Yakub because he felt some type of way, had the dark skinned people made fun of his head. That's what it all well, it didn't start it there, but that last race he grafted and Yearsville tried to first to try to have everything back the way it was. It I think after that it did not work and stuff. I think the Moors had helped them because they originally from the Caucasus Mountains. I broke ties with the majority of my peers, so he broke ties and removed myself from the thing I once loved. So he removed himself because he didn't want no parts of it, and he took some time off. I took some time off and returned to Europe for a few years. So he returned Europe for a few years. He settled out of state, and lived a quiet life away from the world of entertainment. So he lived a quiet way, so he could be away from the entertainment industry. As the years passed, I managed to keep my secret. So he keep his secret. I give him that. Fearful to share it with the wrong person. Yeah, mm. But also, Lil was saying for of not having had the balls to blow the whistle. So he didn't. He wished he could blow the whistle. But as rap got worse, my guilt grew firstly in the late 90s. Having the internet as a resource which wasn't at my disposal in the early days made it easier for me to investigate what is now labeled the prison industrial complex. Still goes on to this day. Now that I have a greater understanding how private prisons operate, so he have understanding how private prisons operate. These make much more sense than they ever have. I see the criminalization of rap music play a big part in promoting racial stereotypes. Racial stereotypes, that's that too. Racial stereotypes, wrestling, acting, cartoons, it's everywhere and misguided so many impossible young minds, and it's targeting the black and brown youth. Let's say, oh, shoot, how can I put this? I had to take a guess on this one. Let's say it's 6 to 25. Let's just say that that's the target. And also is a possibility of 25 and 39. And to adapting those glorified criminal behaviors which often lead incarceration. That's what they want. Criminal behaviors to lead incarceration in the against the rap music. Drill music does the same thing. 20 years of guilt is a heavy load to carry, but the least I can do now is to share my story, hoping that fans of rap music realize how they have been used for the past 2 decades. 2 decades. I so had planned on remaining anonymous for obvious reason. My goal now is to get information out as many people as possible. Please help me spread the word. Hopefully others who attend the meeting back in 1991 will be inspired by this and tell their own story. Most hopefully, if only one life has been touched by my story, I pray it makes the weight of my guilt a little more tolerable. So he's telling people about the information of the LA meeting way back when of this gangster rap music to promote criminal behavior and increase. They do this every year, every decade. Drill, trap, yeah, trap. That's part of gangster rap, both drill and trap. Uh huh. Mm hmm. Brand Nubian. They don't want no brand Nubians. Cannabis never uh rap anything gangsterless in his music. Papoose in Cannabis and Papoose music never been in the radio. Bensino as well. If you listen, let's say uh 95.5 Washington Radio, WKYS. That's the DMV radio station. Never hear no music for Cannabis, Papoose. And I think it's a possibility Prodigy Maul D's music where he was with Havoc, um, his music was played on the radio. Uh, UGK music was played on the radio. I think PFC, when he's a solo artist, Leslie, I think when he became a solo artist, I think they play his music. Some of the members that got by 3 6 Mafia, their music never been played on the radio. So Project Pack, Juicy J had put a stop to this. And what's his name? Before I leave, man, no, DJ Paul Juicy J had put a stop to the have Kusta uh Kusta music being played on the radio. So they put a stop to that, and he also got by them, just like Lord Infamous and Gangsta Boo. Causey Black wanted to leave and got shot. It was Dill. Causey back 1991 to 2006, 2019 to present. Hold on, I got to do a bonus real quick before I head out. Causey Black. Dang. Hold on. Causey Black. Causey Black. Hold on. I think I can. Wait. When he left 3 6 Mafia in March 2014. No, my bad. Hold on. Let me go back. He left 3 6 Mafia in 2006. So he want to leave the group. So he was shot in the face, in the leg in Las Vegas in July 1st, 2012, and recovered very quickly from the injury and was released from the hospital after days of the suit. It was them that did that. So it was the second time I want to leave because he saw some bullshit. Because he left the group in 2006, came back 4 years later. No, 5 years later. Came back 5 years later. Then in 2000, then 2 years later, enough was enough. I was given a group of chats. Next thing you know, someone knew he was. I think DJ Paul and Juicy J had called a hitman to get Crosby Black and got freaking shot. Mm-mm-mm. Oh my freaking goodness, man. Woo! If I leave in everything out, um, put your thoughts on the comment section. Mm-hmm. Okay, Rhino. Okay, Rhino never put no gangster stuff in his music. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it it's rappers like Cannabis Pabu and K-Ron Benzino don't put no gangster stuff in their music, and rappers like Brad Nubian. Mm-mm-mm. So that's about it. I'm out of here. Power to the people. Hashtag for the culture.